Um, what we're looking at is this parable of the wheat and the tares. You may say, Gina, what's a parable? It's um, it's like an analogy of what is happening in real life. It's like a comparison, but it's broken down to different things. And I want to read because this is truly what is happening on earth. If you haven't heard of this parable or story, I'm going to read it. I really am. I'm going to read it right now. I'm just going to get right on to it. Let's put it right here. So, the parable of the weeds. Jesus put before them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while everyone was asleep, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and slipped away. And when the wheat sprouted and bore grain, then the weeds also appeared. The owner's servants came to him and said, "Sir, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Where then did the weeds come from?" "An enemy did this," he replied. So the servants asked him, "Do you want us to go out and pull them up?" "No," he said. "If you pull the weeds now, you might uproot the wheat with them. Let them both grow together until the harvest. At that time, I will tell the harvesters, first collect the weeds and tie them in bundles to be burned. Then gather the wheat into my barn." And if you're just tuning in, thank you for tuning in. You know, this parable really does say a lot if you've never read it or heard of it, if you have never looked in the Bible at the parables given when it comes to seeds. Like a garden, you know, when you plant your physical garden, you have your seeds, your good seeds that you plant. But as the plant grows, you know, the weeds, they're in the ground and they're going to grow up too. And if you're not careful, the weeds, they literally will suck up all the nutrients in the ground, and they'll keep your plants, your vegetables and stuff from growing. So you've got to get those weeds out. Okay, you do. But it's a really interesting parable. So you could say you have the wheats and the tares is what you've got that are growing together. You have two different types of, I don't like saying it, you have two different types of humans. Okay, you really do. With two different types of spirits, if you want to think about it that way. Yeah, it was on your heart all last week. And the enemy, we didn't do nothing to the enemy. We didn't, you all. I'm telling you, humanity was never supposed to be like this. It wasn't. But the enemy came and sowed his seed among humanity. And you know, if you look at the parable and you look at the picture, they almost look identical. They almost do. They got a long stalk, and you've got this like this, and you got this like this. It's really interesting. Hello there, bang bang mucka bang, you all. And some people say, Gina, why are you reading from the Bible? Because it's been on my mind, all these seeds, the parable of the sower. And I'm going to read. I'm going to read the whole entire chapter. It's Matthew 13. I'm going to read the whole entire chapter. And if you don't like to see me reading from the Bible, or you don't want to hear it, you can Go to another YouTube channel. It doesn't matter to me at this point. It doesn't. Okay, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. I'm going to read it regardless because it's been laid on my heart. So I'm going to read it. The parable of the sower. The same day Jesus went out of the house and sat by the sea. And such large crowds gathered around him, and he got into a boat and sat down, while all the people stood on the shore. He told many things in parables, saying, A farmer went out to sow his seed, and as he was sowing, some fell along the path, and the birds came and devoured it. Some fell on rocky ground where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow, but when the sun rose, the seedlings were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Others fell among the thorns, which grew up and choked the seedlings. Still, other seed fell on good soil and produced a crop, 100-fold, 60-fold, 30-fold. He who has ears, let him hear. Now, I'm not sure if you are listening to this, if you've never heard of this before, what are they referring to? It's just like the word. When you hear the good word, words like this, it has the ability, our words have the power of life and death. Okay, Jesus's words had the power of life and death within them. And you could say that as he's sowing his seed, and it falls upon the people to nourish them, some of it, as he's sowing his seed, some of the seed fell along the path. The birds came and devoured it. It's like the people who received it, okay, it fell along the path. The birds came to devour it. They had no root. There was nothing there. They just heard it and more or less fell on deaf ears. And the other ones, well, they heard it and they were all excited. Okay, they were all excited. And the soil was too shallow. There wasn't enough soil for the seed to grow. Like people, there wasn't enough, how do you say it? They weren't grounded enough to grow up. And then they had no root. They had no root. The other ones that fell among the thorns grew up. You could be around bad people. You're trying to make a change in your life, you could be around bad people, and they quickly choke out the good that you want to change into. But, the good soil, it stays within you. The goodness stays within you, and you're able to, the goodness stays within you, and you're able to keep that goodness within you, keep that change within you, keep that love within you, because you can't force somebody to change on the inside. You can't. They got to have a willing heart to change. You've got to willingly, say, I am. And it's not that easy for some. It's not. I know I'm not explaining it correctly, you all. I'm not. But I think it's probably best if I just read it and let you try to see what it means to you. But if you listen to the Bible at all, any of the parables, you know exactly what it's talking about. You do. Let me go back to it, you all. That's what I'm going to do. Go back to this sower, this right here. Then the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Why do you speak to the people in parables?" He replied, "The knowledge of the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Whoever has will be given more, and he will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken from him. This is why I speak to them in parables. Though seeing, they do not see. Though hearing, they do not hear or understand. In them, the prophecy of Isaiah is fulfilled. You will be ever hearing, but never understanding. You will be ever seeing, but never perceiving. For his people's hearts have grown callous. They hardly hear with their ears. They have closed their eyes. Otherwise they might see with their eyes, hear with their ears, and understand with their hearts, and turn, I would heal them. But blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. For truly I tell you, many prophets and righteous men longed to see what you see, but did not see it, and to hear what you hear, but did not hear it. Now this very thing right here, you know what? This right here, I mentioned something like this before in a YouTube video, and I spoke about it, and guess what happened to me? That's when I had a timeout on YouTube. It really is. They didn't want to hear it, but it is true, you all. It's so true. Let me come over here and see you. Yes, hello everyone. Bang bang mucka bang. Yes, that's right, you all. They didn't want to hear, and so last night I was really talking to these people who they don't want to listen. You could call them right here. They've been they walk among us. They really do. They walk among us. But they are not of us. Okay, they're not of us. I just want you to know they're not of us. And I've been reading comments this morning on that video I did last night. And there's a lot of comments. Of course, there could be a lot more, but really, they do. They walk among us. They look like us. They kind of act like us, but they're not of us. They're not of us, you all. They're not. They're not of us at all. Let me, I'm going to come back over here. Just see what we got. I'm just going to read this whole entire chapter. Okay. Let's look at this. The parable of the sower explained. Consider then the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the message of the kingdom but does not understand it, the evil one comes in and snatches away what was sown in his heart. This is the seed sown along the path. The seed sown on rocky ground is the one who hears the word and at once receives it with joy, but since he has no root, he remains for only a season, and when trouble or persecution comes because of the word, he falls away quickly. The seed sown among the thorns is the one who hears the word, but the worries of this life and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. But the seed sown on good soil is the one who hears the word and understands it. He indeed bears fruit and produces a crop, 100-fold, 60-fold, 30-fold. So I think that explains it a lot better than I was trying to. I don't like to explain it because it explains it right here, more or less in layman's terms. You know, and you know people. Some people may say, I just don't get you. I don't know what you're speaking about. Are you saved? Yeah, they've asked me that. You're a Christian. First of all, I don't like to be labeled. I don't. I don't like to be labeled. I don't like to slap labels on people. I never have. But you know what? You'll know somebody by the fruit that they bear. You will. And I think if you have discernment within you, you would know where I stand based on how I am. I'm not full of hate and anger and bitterness and all of that kind of stuff. I'm not. That's not of me. That's not of me. So if you have to ask questions like that of me or anybody else, you're obviously not looking for any good whatsoever. You want to dissect people. We're not here to dissect. If you can't see that bad part that you're looking for in an individual, and you have to ask certain questions, then you literally are fault finding with people. You got to stop that. You got to stop it. Okay, you got to stop it. It's not right. It's not right at all. Let me come back over here to the screen. Excuse me. Let me see you all. I've got to get myself, I have got to get myself a drink of water, you all. And I know this is different. This is very different for me. But it is a part of me. It's a part of me. It is a part of me. So let's come here. We've already done this. This good seed that was sowed in the field, this is the wheat, and the tares right here, this whole entire thing. Look, why didn't they say the parable of the wheat and the tares? See, they just said the parable of the weeds, but that's okay. But this is really good. The parable of the mustard seed. He put before them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed that a man planted in his field. Although it is the smallest of all seeds, yet it grows into the largest of the garden plants and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and nest in its branches. The parable of leaven. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like leaven that a woman took and mixed into 3 measures of flour until all of it was leavened. He says, Jesus spoke all these things to the crowd in parables, and he did not tell them anything without using a parable. So was fulfilled what was spoken through the prophet. I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things hidden since the foundation of the world. If you're just tuning in, I just want you to know this is not very popular. It's not at all. For some people, it's not popular, but you know that's I'm beyond it now. It's that's it, you all. That's it. Lines are literally being drawn in the sand, is what's happening. Lines are being drawn in the sand. There is a division taking place. There is a I think the parable of the wheat and the tares is now taking place. I really do. So let's see this right here. The parable of the weeds. Then Jesus dismissed the crowds and went into the house. His disciples came to him and said, "Explain to us the parable of the weeds in the field." He replied, "The one who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The field is the world. And the good seed represents the sons of the kingdom. The weeds are the sons of the evil one, and the enemy who sows them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the harvesters are the angels. As the weeds are collected and burned in the fire, so will it be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will weed out of his kingdom every cause of sin and all those who practice lawlessness, and throw them into the fiery furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father." So that part right there, you know, when I was thinking about that part right there, I thought of, you have Enki and you have Enlil. You have the evil one who sowed seeds, and you have the good one who sowed seeds. And you have that. You really do. In Sumerian text, you have Enki and Enlil. You have them both. And you have to ask, what do they represent? Is this right here a representation also of that? Because I'm sure it's all tied together, yet it is explained in many different ways, in many different comparisons. There's many different parallels to what is out there. There really is. So the Inky and the Enlil, it could be you all, if you haven't heard of it. The enemy sowed the weeds. Okay, the evil. And so it's like a balance. And then you say, well, it's just always, there has to be some type of a balance in the life. So it's really interesting. I'm not going to be on here much longer. I'm not. The parable of the kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again. And in his joy, he went and sold all he had and bought that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant in search of fine pearls. When he found one very precious pearl, he went away and sold all that he had and bought it. Let me come over here and look at the comments. Hello there, Apple Brooks Honey. Hello, everyone. Hello. Yeah, we are weak in the flesh, but we're strong. We really are. We got a strength within us. We do. Let me just say that I do it again. We've got a strength within us, and it will come to the time we're going to have to draw on that strength right here, right on the inside. Okay, we're not left on this earth alone. Okay, we're not. Okay, we're not. And it's okay. It's going to be all right. Is what it's going to be. It's going to be all right. It really is, regardless of what comes. Now, this is really interesting. The parable of the net. Once again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net that was cast into the sea and caught all kinds of fish. When it was full, the men pulled it ashore. They sat down and they sorted the good fish into containers, and they threw the bad away. So it will be at the end of the age. The angels will come and separate the wicked from the righteous and throw them into a fiery furnace where there will be weeping of gnashing of teeth. Have you understood all these things? Yes, they answered. He said, for this reason, every scribe who has been discipled in the kingdom of heaven is like a homeowner who brings out of his storeroom new treasures as well as old. So that's really interesting, you all. It's really interesting. All of this, what's happening, but the parable of the wheat and the tares, that's there, is really interesting. Let's look at that right there. This right here, the enemy. The enemy sowed his weeds among the wheat and he just slipped away. The weeds also appeared. Those weeds right there also appeared. So when he explained it, look at that. This is what he explained. The one who sows a good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, the earth on which we live. So the good seed is humans. Humanity is the good seed. Okay? Good seed. And the field is the world, the earth on which we live. The good seed represents the sons of the kingdom, the sons and the daughters. And really we are light beings in this body. We are literally light beings in this body. The weeds are the sons of the evil one, and the enemy who sows them is the devil. So the enemy, he put weeds, he sowed his weeds, which really do. They kind of look the same. And they walk among us. Let me flip this back to me. I was looking at these wheats and the tares, and we can come over here. Look at all these. People done many parable or stories on this. Look. So they kind of look alike at a distance. They kind of, until you get up and look how they put it. Tares look identical to wheat. Wheat before it is fully ripe. And then tares is lolium to mutulium, however you say it, you all. So it's really, really interesting. It is. Look at that. So you can see, let them both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest, I'll say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to be burnt, and gather the wheat into the barn. It's really strange if you think about it, the parables that are said and all of that kind of stuff. Oh my goodness, you all. So, yeah. Trifles are the new Oh, wow. Yeah, there are. Christina, honey, they do walk among us, and these interdimensional beings, these portals they opened and let in great evil, And with that 1947, if you all saw that doomsday clock in 1947, how that was first launched, and then you have the Roswell incident of the UFOs, and then the Groom Lake in the 1947, and then Israel becomes a nation 47 through 48. Then the Dead Sea Scrolls are found in 1947, you all. It's all tied together. It's all tied together somehow, some way. Oh, Bad Boy Channel. It takes bravery to get on here and speak the word. Well, you're so very welcome. There's a time and place for everything. There really is. But we're reaching that critical tipping point. We really are. Now's not the time to be fearful at all. It is not the time to be fearful. Raw Olympia. Oh my God. That's that's kind of funny. That is kind of funny. I shouldn't laugh about it, but that's a good way to put it. But you find that in your workplace and everyday life. It's quite evident. It's everywhere. It's even in the media. It's all over the place. You can find it in families, and you think, how on earth can that be happening? How can that be possible to have some children that seem really like angelic and other children who seem kind of whatever? Don't ask me. Don't ask me. I'm not even going to touch that. I'm not. I'm not. But it's like it's just, let's take that for instance. I'm going to barely touch it. So you wonder why all your children are like normal and stuff, and the majority of them, and then you have some that just are way on the other scale, total opposites, like the scale was tipped. It's like these people, there's lots of instances where people have been abducted by aliens. They have. And at the time of puberty and stuff, when they're able to whatever, they literally implant them, they impregnate them, and then they take whatever, they put their stuff in them, you know it. Use them as a breeder is what happens. Sometimes I think they sewed certain things into the humans, and they have the babies and stuff. You never know with the bad entities that do this. You don't. Okay, some are bad entities and some are good. So yeah, I'm not saying that, but there are instances of stuff like that. I'm sure this UFO stuff and all this interdimensional stuff and what's taking place, it's all related somehow, some way. Yes. It's getting kind of hectic. That's right, it's getting kind of hectic, you all. It is. Yeah. It's like this. Let me see what this is like. Let's look at this. So, the rejection. When Jesus finished his parables, he withdrew from the place. Coming to his hometown, he taught the people in their synagogues, and they were astonished. Where did this man get such wisdom and miraculous powers? They asked. Isn't he the carpenter's son? Isn't his mother named Mary and his brother named James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas? Aren't his sisters with us as well? When did this man get all these things? And they took offense of him. But Jesus said to him, only in his hometown and his own household is a prophet without honor. And he did not do many miracles there because of their unbelief. So look at this. He taught the people in their synagogue, and they were astonished. They wanted to know, where did this man get such wisdom? Isn't he just like a carpenter's son? But you know, if you go to the book of Revelations, it speaks about those who claim to be Jews but are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. Okay, of the synagogue of Satan. How could that be possible? Right here beside us, the wheat and the tares. That's how it can be possible. They're among us. They really are. And you know, and the scripture does say, those who claim to be Jews, a Jew is a Jew if he is one inwardly. And circumcision is that of the heart. Right inside here. Right inside here. Okay. Yeah. You can say, oh, I am a Jew, whatever. I've got the lineage, but are you truly one inwardly? And is your heart truly circumcised? Inside here spiritually? Yeah, so because his own people rejected him is what happened. His own people rejected him. And then you have the Jews in the book of Revelation that are of the synagogue of Satan. That's pretty scary. If they are of the synagogue of Satan, so you can say Enki and Enlil. You could say that they are the weeds, the sons of the evil one. And the enemy who sowed them was the devil. That's what you could say. Right there. Right there. The synagogue of Satan. Right there. And you know, scripture also talks about, they're telling Jesus, he says, they said, Abraham is our father. It's when they're coming out against him. He goes, if Abraham was your father, you would do as he did. But as it is, you are trying to kill me, a man who has done you no harm. He said, no, you are of your father, the devil. He was a murderer and a liar, never holding to the truth. Okay, and when he speaks his native language. He told those people, you are of your father, the devil. He was a murderer in the beginning. What did he mean? He was a murderer. That takes me back to the story of Cain and Abel. It really does. Murderer from the beginning, never holding to the truth. You are of your father, the devil. Right there. The weeds are the sons of the evil one. The enemy who sows them is the devil. Isn't that something, you all? That's right. Oh, and it talks also about somebody who's in the book of Revelation, his kingdom is plunged into darkness. That's what it talks about. The kingdom is plunged into darkness of the evil one. Yeah. It's all of that, you all. It's all mysterious is what it is. It's mysterious, yet it's happening. You all, we're in the book of Revelation is what's happening. That's right. Bang, bang, mucka bang. Good morning. James Carter, honey, it's a very, very, very sensitive topic. It really is very sensitive. And it's not one to be, you got to tread lightly. Let's show this, you all. Look at this, you all. So Here we have in the book of John, he's asking him, why do you not understand what I'm saying? It is because you are unable to accept my message. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out his desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, refusing to uphold the truth because there is no truth in him. And when he speaks his native language because he is a liar and the father of lies. You see that right there? Father of lies. He tells them, you are of your father, the devil, you all. That's what he tells them. You're of your father, the devil. And you want to carry out his desires. They are of the evil one. The enemy who sows them is the devil. And if you come down here, he went into the synagogues and he taught them. And they didn't want to believe him because he was just a carpenter's son. He was just a carpenter's son. They didn't want to have nothing to do with him, you all. They didn't. So, yeah, there's so much to it. There really is a lot to it. Good morning, you all. Yeah, Shashatina, that's exactly right. And, so you got that one. I want to just do one more. Just one more. I just want to show it. I'm just going to do one more, you all. Yeah. Let's, I really don't like this version, but I'm gonna come over here, you all, the Revelation 3:9. Let's look at this. Let's come over here to the chapter 3. This is really interesting. Look, this is like the church, to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write. These are the words of the one who is holy and true, who holds the key of David. What he opens, no one can shut, and what he shuts, no one can open. I want to tell you something. If he truly does open a door in your life, there's no one going to be able to shut that door. The door will only get closed if he closes it, you all. It's really true. Look, he says to the church in Philadelphia, I know your deeds. See, I have placed before you an open door which no one can shut. For you have a little strength, yet you have kept my word and have denied my name. Look at those who belong to the synagogue of Satan, who claim to be Jews but are liars instead. I will make them come and bow down at your feet, and they will know that I love you. So they claim to be Jews, but they're not. They're liars. They're of the synagogue of Satan. So we have certain Jews walking around among, it's just like the wheat and the tares, okay? They do, the wheat and the tares. And then, it talks about if you are a Jew, you are a one inwardly. Let me get over here. A man is a Jew if he's one inwardly. A Jew. If he is, let's do it, you all. We're going to do it. We can do it. Let's do this, you all. Come on now. The Jews and the law. The one who is physically uncircumcised yet keeps the law will condemn you, who even though you have the written code and the circumcision, are a law breaker. A man is not a Jew because he is one outwardly, nor is circumcision only outward and physical. No, a man is a Jew because he is one inwardly, and circumcision is a matter of the heart, by the Spirit, not by the written code. Such a man's praise does not come from Such a man's praise does not come from men, but from God. So, yeah, all of that too. So there are those who claim to be Jews, but are not. And the reason they're not is because they are of the synagogue of Satan, is what it says. There are the synagogue of Satan. You are the children of your father, the devil, and you love to do the evil things he do, because he was a murderer from the beginning. He has always hated the truth because there is no truth in him. And when he lies, it is consistent with his character, for he is a liar and a father of lies. Okay. Yeah, so it's a lot of stuff packed into one thing, is what it is. Good morning. That's right. Luna, honey, I know you didn't get the notification, you all. I know it. That's right. You all, there's so much more to this than meets the eye. It really is. Let me watch this. What's happened? Let's watch what happens. So we're going to look at this. Look at this. The first of the 6 bowls of wrath. And the people were scorched by the intense heat, and they cursed the name of God, who had authority over these plagues, and yet they did not repent or give him glory. And the 5th angel poured out his bow on the throne of the beast, and its kingdom was plunged into darkness, and men began to gnaw their tongues in anguish. And the curse of God of heaven for their pains and their sores. Okay, so the beast, the throne of the beast, his kingdom was plunged into darkness, you all. The story's already been written. The story's already been written. The ending has already been told. The ending has already been told, is what it is. So they know it. It's already written down. They know it, but they're still got to play out. It's like, it's really like we're characters in a Bible, in the book. Characters in a book is what it seems like. But yet it's affecting us in the real world. We're literally living this out, is what we're doing. But we know what happens to the evil one who sowed his seeds. Okay, we know what happened. And we know that there are those who claim to be Jews but are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. And a Jew is one if he is one inwardly. And circumcision is that of the heart, the spirit, right inside of there, you all. So there's a lot. Even though they may claim they have the Abraham lineage, they don't do what his father did. No, that he said, Jesus told him, you are of your father, the devil. He was a murderer from the beginning and never holding to the truth. And when he speaks his native language. He's the father of lies. And there's no truth found in him, you all. There isn't. So we are truly dealing with the wheat and the tares at this point. They walk among us. They are of the evil one. There are people that look like us, but on the inside, they're not like us. They're not like us at all. On the inside, they're not spiritual beings of light. We are of the light. Okay, we are. The light that literally shines brighter than any darkness is like a scripture says, if the light within you is darkness, you could say that of the tares, how great is that darkness? That's what it says. If the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? It's those who are pretending to be what they are not, is truly what it is. Let me get back over here. You all. Yes, we can do this. We're going to do this, and this is very different, you all. It is. It's totally different. Yeah. Yeah. To J. Corbett. Yeah, so they don't. Let's look at this. They don't keep the laws and the statutes. To J, we're gonna look at that. Um, we're gonna look at that, okay? We can do it. We can do it. All right? That's right. We can do it. We're going to do it, you all. We're going to come over here and we're going to do this. We're going to be more, we're going to do more of this. Let me find, I got to find it. Look at it says. Indeed, Gentiles who do not have the law do by nature what the law requires. They are a law to themselves, though they do not have the law. So they show the work of the law is written on their hearts, their consciousness also bearing witness, and their thoughts either accusing and defending them on the day when God will judge men's secrets through the Christ Jesus, who proclaimed listen to this, proclaim my gospel. So let me see who would, let's see that. So to Jay, yes, thank you for bringing that up. Thank you to Jay, because we're going to look at it. We are looking at it. So let's look at this, you all. So look at this. Now, if you call yourself a Jew, if you rely on the law and you boast in God, if you know his will and approve of what is superior because you are instructed by the law, if you are convinced that you are a guide for the blind, a light for those in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of infants, because you have the law, the embodiment of knowledge and truth, you then, do you teach others? Do you not teach yourself? You who preach against stealing, do you steal? You who forbid adultery, do you commit adultery? You who abhor idols, do you rob temples? You who boast in the law, do you dishonor God by breaking the law? As it is written, God's name is blasphemed among the Gentiles because of you. So let's look at this, you all. This is a good thing to bring up to Jay. Circumcision has value if you observe the law, but if you break the law, your circumcision has become uncircumcision. If a man who is not circumcised keeps the requirements of the law, will not his uncircumcision be regarded as circumcision? The one who is physically uncircumcised yet keeps the law will condemn you, even though you have the written code and circumcision are a law breaker. So here we go. A man is not a Jew because he is one outwardly, nor is circumcision only outward and physical. No, a man is a Jew if he is one inwardly, and circumcision is a matter of the heart by the Spirit, not by the written code. Such a man's praise does not come from men, but God. So that's really interesting. That's right. I'm just going to say one more thing. Let me try to get this, you all. We're going to try to find it. I'm trying to find it, you all. Let me look back over here. We're going to do it one more time, is what we're going to do. We're going to do it. Yes, we're going to do it, you all. Look at this. Let's talk about Galatians. There is freedom in Christ. For you, brothers, were called to freedom. But do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh. Rather, serve one another in love. The entire law is fulfilled in a single decree: love your neighbor as yourself. But if you keep on biting and devouring one another, watch out, or you will be consumed by one another. Leviticus, do not seek revenge or bear grudge against any of your people, but love your neighbor as yourself. In everything, do to others as you would have them do to you, for this is the essence of the law and the prophets. Honor your father and your mother. Okay, let's look at this. So, look at this. The greatest commandment, you all. The greatest commandment right here. He's going to look at that. I'm going to get ready to end this with the greatest commandment that there is, you all. We're going to end it with the greatest commandment that there is what we're going to do. Yes, it is. We're going to do this, and we're going to get ready to go. Zala Divine. Yes, you all. We got to do it. We're going to do it. So, the greatest commandment. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. Hang on these two commandments. Let me see this. This really should be going to this. Come on now. Hangs on these two commandments. I got to get the rest of it, you all, because the very first one is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength, is what it is. That is the first one. Let's see, it says Matthew 22. We got to get to this like that. But let's get to it, you all. See, they look at the Pharisees. They wanted to trap Jesus in his words, but they didn't. They didn't. They did it. Okay, look. So we're going to get to this. That wasn't the one that I wanted. Okay, this is what I wanted to get to right here. The greatest commandment. We're going to read this and then, yeah. When the Pharisee heard that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, they themselves gathered together, and one of them, an expert in the law, tested him with a question. Teacher, which commandment is the greatest of the law? Jesus declared, love the Lord your God with all your heart. How could they love the Lord their God with all their heart if they're not circumcised within their heart? Okay, but I'm going to read it. I'm not going to do that. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. Right there. Okay, right there. They hang on those two commandments. It boils down to love. Love. Okay, that's what it boils down to, you all. The love that you have on the inside of here. That's what it boils down to. If you don't have love, like Paul said, I'm like a resounding gong. Nothing matters without love, okay? It's all for nothing. You literally would be void on the inside, no matter what it is you did in this lifetime, if you've got that main ingredient missing. Yeah, so it's interesting. So this was different, and I jumped over a little bit of places, but that's okay. Yes. Who is your neighbor? Well, Comey, honey, that was a question that they asked. Who is your neighbor? So you are asking me a question too. So that was a question. That was a question. Let's look at this. Let's write it down. Who is your neighbor? Let's get it, you all. Boom. Wait, who is your neighbor? Because I had another one. Look at this. Let me have it. Who is your neighbor? Who is my neighbor? Who is my neighbor? We're going to find it. Yes, we're going to find it, you all. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Your neighbor can be anybody. Anybody is what it can be. Anybody. Anybody. Let's get to this. You know, that's really interesting because when you type it in, it doesn't want to. Love your neighbor as yourself. Let's get to this. So I can answer that really. Let's find you at. Where are you at? That's right. You're my neighbor. Okay? You're my neighbor. Everybody on here is supposed to be my neighbor, Comey. And if you are to love your neighbor, you're supposed to love everybody on here too. We're all supposed to be our neighbor, but you got to remember one thing. You got to remember one thing. We have walking among us are the wheat and the tares. We got the tares walking among us. Okay? And could we say that they are our neighbor? They don't love us, okay? They can look like us. They can say, well, I'm your neighbor. You don't love me. The tares can say that. I'm your neighbor, but you don't love me. You're not fulfilling the law, okay? But you know what? Then you have that thing. There's something missing on the inside of them, okay? There's something missing on the inside of these tares, these people who are claiming to be something when they're not. They'll claim to be your neighbor, and you know, you're told to turn the other cheek. But there will come a point in time when there is no turning of the other cheek. Okay, there isn't. There's a time for war and there's a time for peace. There's a time to speak and a time to be silent. There's a time to hold and there's a time to let go. There's a time for everything. There's an appointed time for everything on the earth is what there is. We got to be vigilant. We got to have discernment within our spirits. And you know what? It's like it says, if you keep on biting and gnawing at each other, watch out or you're going to be destroyed by one another. You don't want the enemy to get into your camp and sow his seeds among you. You don't put implants. See, the enemy plants his people in your camp, plants his people in my camp. And they're pretty good at disguise at times, but something happens and they get found out. That's what happens. And then there comes that great separation is what happens. Yes. That's what it is. That's right, bad boy, honey. Yeah, there's a lot of people who they want you to do to them. They want you to truly love thy neighbor as thyself, do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. There are people in today's world, they want you to do the good to them, but they're not going to do that to you because they feel that you better do that good to them. They will not reciprocate. Okay, love is very reciprocating. You can't have a healthy relationship when one person is giving all and you're doing all the giving and the other one is doing all the taking. That's a servant. It's not balanced. Yeah, you doing all the giving and they keep taking and taking and taking. And before you know it, there ain't nothing left of you to give because they literally, they took everything out of you. They took everything that you have and then some. Okay? Yeah. Gina, there's a video out, Tammy, about a man being interviewed about what he's seen coming out of a chariot. You call them spaceships, but he can share it. Yeah. So, that's right. Yeah. If you love someone more than you have ever been angry at them, if you love someone more than you have, that's unconditional love. Yeah, you got that right. It's an unconditional love. It's hard to do that for some people. It really is. And you don't want to be a doormat. You don't got to be a doormat, you all. We're living in a day and age. We don't have to be a doormat. You can stand up for what is right and what is just. You can. You don't have to be a doormat, okay? This is the time when we're coming to the time you better have that spiritual armor on. You really have your spiritual armor on because this is spiritual manifesting in the physical is what it is. Yeah. That's right. That's right, you all. So, we got the greatest commandment of all. We really do. The greatest commandment of all is to love thy neighbor as thyself. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul. And love thy neighbor as thyself. All the laws of the prophets and the commandments hang on those two right there. They hang on those two right there. It's all fulfilled. But I think I do remember that it says that if you live by the law and you break just one part of it, you'll be judged by the whole entire law, is what you would be judged by. Yeah, but we're not here to judge you all. We're not. We're here because we want to live our life in love. We want to be grounded in love. Okay, we are. It's a turning point. It's a turning point. We're among the tares. The tares are among us, and we know it. We may not have seen it before, but there are people who we would have never, ever suspected. But now their true colors are coming out because they're being brought out into the light. And this is a long video, and I don't like long videos. Really long videos. It's hard for someone to watch, but that's okay. It is. Yeah. Yes, we are. We are the love in the storm. Yes. No, you don't. That's right, PJ. You don't got to be a doormat. That's right. No doormats. Loving and forgiveness. There's people who hold grudges against people when they shouldn't. Really, how long you going to carry that weight? How long you going to carry that grudge? How long you going to carry that extra weight on you? Forever? I think you just need to let it go. Let it go. Let it go. It's not worth it. You need to have your spirit light and free. You got to travel light. Just put that armor on. Is what you should do. Call me. Not everyone is your neighbor. That's exactly right. Not everyone is your neighbor, because we got the wheat and we got the tares is what we've got. We got the wheat and the tares. And you've seen it all your life. You've seen some mean people in your life, you have, and they ain't what they supposed to be. They're not. Yeah. Laura C., you like long videos. That's right. Love is the answer. It really is. Yes, Michael, incarnate 1,000 times in this one life. That's right. My God will supply all your needs according to his glorious riches. It's like that time when the prophet went to that woman's house and he wanted something to eat, and she didn't have hardly nothing in her little thing. I can't even remember the story now, but she had enough to feed him. Yeah. Shastina, yeah, these are exhausting times. Yes. That's right, Comey. Our enemies, it's a level up now, Comey, honey. Level up. Nope. That's right. You got to stand your ground. You got to stand your ground. You got to stand your ground, and you have every right to stand your ground. Everybody has every right to stand their ground right now. That's right. Because why? God knows your heart. Okay? Knows your heart. It's okay. Yes. Boom. So, I'm going to go. You all. I really am. So we started with the wheat and the tares, and you can see them right here. And it's okay. We're going to go. I hope y'all give this video a thumbs up. It's a different one. It is, but it's a part of me. It really is a part of me. Of who I am on the inside. Tammy, honey. Tammy Williams. Yes. We're not alone. We're not. We may think that we're alone, but we're not. At all. You're so very welcome. Thank you, Susan B., Bang Bang Mucka Bang, Apple Brooks, for being on here. Thank you all. Because our world has changed. We got the wheat and we got the tares, and all of it. So with that being said, let me come over here, you all. With that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello, from my heart to yours. Love you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for listening. And this is a different video, but I felt led within my spirit to get on here because they walk among us, and they're opening up portals, bringing in more. But that's okay, because what happens? His kingdom gets plunged into darkness. That's what happens. That's okay. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Love you.